All right, so today we are going to be focusing on finding missing angle measures of a right triangle, kind of building off what we did yesterday, in which we talked about finding the missing sides of a right triangle. So if you guys remember, we talked about sine being opposite over hypotenuse, cosine being adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent being opposite over adjacent. Or remember we talked about the saying so, ga, doa. SOH, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent's opposite over adjacent. Okay, so just to not to be repetitive, but I just want to make sure you guys are good with identifying what the ratios are. Let us look at this. We want to find out what the cosine of angle A is. So if you guys remember, we want to identify what the hypotenuse is first, which is always across from the right angle. Then we want to identify what the opposite side is. It's across from the right angle. And then the adjacent side is the other side touching the angle we're trying to find. So in this case, we're trying to find the cosine of A. So remember that's adjacent over hypotenuse. So in this case, it's going to be 30 over 50. Okay. For this next one, we're looking at the sine of angle C. So we want to identify the hypotenuse, then we want to identify the opposite, and then we want to identify the adjacent. So sine of C is going to be whatever the opposite side is over the hypotenuse. So that's going to be 27 over 45. So you guys are going to be asked a couple questions in a second. All you guys have to do is tell me what that ratio is. Okay, so tangent, we're looking at A. So 50 is your hypotenuse, 40 is opposite, 30 is adjacent to A. Adjacent means touching. All right, so we want to look at tan of A, and we're looking at opposite over adjacent. So we're going to be looking at 40 over 30. So I'm going to ask you guys to try the next couple, write down your answers, and then we're going to jump into trying to find what those missing angles are. Okay, so in this case, guys, we want to find this angle measure. The sine of what gets me 0.0872. So I want to find that angle measure that makes this statement true. Okay, so I can play the game of guess and check, and I can keep on plugging values into my calculator to do that, or I can do the following. So like we did yesterday, we pulled up the Desmos calculator. You guys can also do this on your own handy dandy calculator if you guys have one with you right now. But what we want to do is we want to look at the function. And if we look, we have sine, cosine, and tangent again. But then underneath when we press that function button, we have sine -1, cosine -1, and tan -1. Anytime we see this -1 function, that is talking about the inverse. So because we're trying to find the sine of what that gets me 0.0872, we are going to push sine -1, or on your TI-83 or whatever calculator, second sine, and then you guys are going to put um, the value that we have, which is 0.0872. And what we find is 5. Okay? So an easy way to check this now is if I just press the sine of 5, I get the exact same value that we were looking for. So we can say that angle Y is 5 degrees. Let's look at this next one here. We're looking at the cosine of what gets me 0.9848. So I can play the game of guess and check, and I can plug values in place of W to do that. Or I can go back to my calculator, desmos.com/scientific, press my function, and because we were dealing with the cosine function, I'm going to press cosine -1, and then 0.9848. Okay, so it looks like it's about 10 degrees. So if I go onto my calculator and just press cosine of 10, you would see that I get 0.9848, which we were looking for. So W is 10 degrees. All right, so this is the last one I'm going to try to do, and you guys are going to ask to be doing it in a second. So the tan of what gets me 4.3315. We're going to go back to the Desmos calculator, and I'm going to press the function button. And because we were doing with tangents, we're going to press tan -1. And then I'm going to type in the numbers 4.3315. Okay. And it looks like it's 77 degrees. 77 degrees. Okay, so if I just clear all and I just press tan of 77, I get the value that I was looking for. Okay. So X turns out to be 77 degrees. Can you guys try these next two for me? And I will go on to the next topic. Okay, so putting it all together here. All right. So I want to find out what this missing angle measure is. Okay, so just putting it together, we want to find out what DTR to find the relationships of all these sides. So 81 is opposite, 38 will be adjacent because it's touching the angle. Okay, so which ratio has O and A in it? So, okay. Looks like it's tangent. So we're going to be doing the tangent of whatever the missing angle is equals 81 over 38. Because remember, it's opposite over adjacent. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into my calculator. So I'm going to clear, and I'm going to be going to my function, and because we were dealing with tangent, I'm going to do tan -1. We will always be using the -1 to find the missing angle measures, and I'm just going to put 81 divided by 38. So what I find is that that angle is about 65 degrees. This angle is 65 degrees. Okay? All right. So looking at this one here. All right. So looks like 9 is opposite, 4 is adjacent. Once again, it looks like we're looking at tangents. So tan of whatever the missing angle measure is opposite over adjacent. So it's 9 over 4. So to find that missing angle measure, I'm going to do tan -1 of 9 divided by 4. So I press the function button, tan -1, and then 9 over 4. So it looks like the angle is 66 degrees. So the angle measure that we were looking for is 64 degrees. Okay, you guys will be asked to do this in a minute, but this is the last one I wanted to try to do. All right, so we're looking at this angle. 26 is the hypotenuse. 25 is the adjacent. SOH, nope, CAH, yes. So we're going to be looking at cosine of the missing angle measure is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's 25 over 26. So I am going to be doing the cosine inverse of 25 over 26 on my calculator. So I'm going to clear my information, press my function, and then cosine -1 of 25 divided by 26. Yes, okay, so yes. Now let's just clear it all. Okay, so cosine -1 of 25 divided by 26. So it looks like that angle is about 16 degrees.